The courtroom is hushed. Everyone waits to see Kody as he walks in, but it's not him who is most strained, it's the wives. Robyn's hands shake, Christine's eyes blaze with anger, and the tension hangs heavy as a physical presence. Within minutes, long-held secrets will erupt, and they won't all leave the same. What goes on in this courtroom will destroy their universe for good. Don't blink, because it's going to get ugly and very personal. It begins in a letter, one that shows up on the kitchen counter with no forewarning. The envelope itself is unmarked, but the contents within are stormy. A court summons, custody and estate issues. The wording itself gets fuzzy as panic quickly sets in. Kody reads it out loud, voice trembling. You are required to attend court over the family home and child arrangements. There is silence. Robyn drops into a chair, white-faced. Christine laughs, attempting to keep fear from creeping into her tone. Janelle bites her lip, and Meri doesn't move even. She's gaping at the letter as if expecting it to somehow disappear if she wishes it so. The family congregates in the living room, tension building like a humming power line. They all have questions, but no one is brave enough to make the first move. The lawyer's signature at the bottom of the page is unknown, a specter hovering over them, ready to burrow into every aspect of their lives. Each wife's mind reeling, past transgressions, hushed conversations, small complaints now feeling titanic in scale. Kody struggles to find his words, attempting to soothe them. I have no idea what this is, but we deal with it together, he states, though the cracking of his voice betrays him. Robyn finds her voice, her words shaky but strong. Together doesn't make it any less frightening. Christine sneers, though it is forced, covering the growing ball of worry tightening in her stomach. Janelle whispers, nearly to herself, we've lived through chaos before. Maybe we can live through this too. And Meri, silent, strategic, her mind whirling, considers all that she's remained quiet about. Might the setting jumps to the courthouse. The building is vast, chilly, and antiseptic. The scent of waxed wood and minimal disinfectant creeps under everyone's skin. Kody goes in first, his shoulders rigid. Trailing behind him, the wives come in like reluctant ghosts, each step heavy with weight of years of resentment and unspoken truths. The clerk in the courtroom calls out their names. One by one, they rise, the chairs scraping against the marble floor sounding like a drumbeat announcing their fate. The judge walks in, and the air thickens. Robyn holds her hands so tightly they whiten. Christine's jaw clenches, and Meri fidgets with her necklace, attempting to look calm. Janelle holds her breath, struggling with the panic rising in her chest. The session starts with the reading of claims. Kody is blindsided by charges he never anticipated, and the wives' groups silently shift, just perceptibly. Then, a silence descends as the first witness is summoned. The air is electric. Secrets that have thrived on whispers are now outed, their reverberations resonating off the chilly marble walls. Eyes flicker, lips press together, and hearts thump. Each sentence is a possible bombshell. Christine slouches forward, repressing a biting reply. Robyn swallows tears she refuses to shed, while Meri's eyes glint with a mix of curiosity and calculation. Janelle grips the edge of the pew, silently praying the truth won't destroy them all. Kody struggles to maintain control, but the weight of decades of complex relationships begins to press down. The meeting breaks off suddenly when the judge orders a recess to study papers that might change everything. The wives exit the courtroom in a burst of hushed argument and sidelong glances. Outside in the parking lot, the mood is almost palpable. Robyn inclines close to Kody and speaks in a stage whisper, "This is worse than I thought." Christine laughs harshly through the air, incredulous. Janelle whispers softly, "We're not prepared for this." And Meri smiles softly, like she already knows something the rest of them don't. Driving home, each mile is filled with fear and guesswork. Who will betray whom? What secrets are about to be exposed? And in the silence of the automobile, Kody finally says out loud what they're all thinking but dreading. What have we gotten ourselves into? The camera lingers on their faces, each etched with tension, worry, and a hint of dread. The storm has only just begun. The courtroom is quieter than expected as the family reconvenes for the second session, but the tension is thick enough to choke on, and every small sound, A cough, a pen clicking, the scrape of a chair feels magnified. Kody sits in the front, fidgeting with his fingers against the shining wooden table, his thoughts racing through every conceivable scenario. Robyn's eyes are bloodshot from nights spent tossing and turning, her fingers bunched together so tightly they've lost all feeling, but she wills herself to remain sitting up straight, refusing to look weak in front of the others. Christine reclines against the chair, arms crossed over her chest, a clenched jaw hiding the whirlwind of rage and fear churning within her. Janelle never stops moving, treading from foot to foot, muttering soft words of comfort to herself, while Meri remains motionless, a hesitant smile twisting her lips that barely appears as though she already knows something the others do not. The judge enters, looking at the documents on the bench with an expression that could cut stone, and the hearing starts with the reading of the anonymous letter that was received yesterday. Its words are appalling, implicating every member of the family with ulterior motives, previous treachery, and clandestine deals that no one had ever discussed for years, and the room seems to shrink, to be stifling, as if the walls are actually closing in. Kody's face goes white as he listens to his own name pulled into allegations of favoritism, manipulation, and financial misdealing, and throat constricts as he hears the accusations detailed and disturbingly true. Robyn's eyes open wide, tears springing to them, as the letter refers to incidents she had long forgiven, but now seem wounds torn open once more. Christine's lips curve open, and for an instant, she does indeed appear nearly relieved, as though confirming her years of suspicions about Kody at last being revealed, but she takes care not to allow her face to divulge the shock underlying.
And just when tension does not appear to have the ability to reach any more acute a pitch, one revelation sends the entire courtroom gasping, leaving everybody to reevaluate what they believed they had learned.
The attorneys start disputing the authenticity of the letter, but the judge stops them, demanding that all allegations be resolved instantly, citing the potential effect on custody arrangements and decisions regarding the estates. The wives lock into quick glances, allegiances being forged and broken in real time, a silent dance of suspicion and maneuvering. Christine inclines towards Meri, muttering something under her breath, her face a blend of curiosity and revolt, as Robyn observes and frowns, her mind running wild over all conceivable betrayals, real or imagined. The first witness is a family friend no longer who testifies that she has intimate knowledge of certain financial imbalances and interpersonal clashes, and while she testifies, information comes to light that undermines the decades-long foundation of trust the family had established. Kody's hands tremble as he attempts to answer, stammering over words he normally speaks with command, and Robyn bites hard on her lip so that she can taste blood, fighting to keep calm as secrets pour like fire. Janelle's eyes brim with tears she can no longer suppress, her fists grasping the table edge until her knuckles are white, and occasionally she looks at Christine, silently wondering if Christine's quick wit and propensity for seeking conflict will exacerbate the situation. Meri is calm, near frosty calm, making notes, her eyes darting between the witnesses and the judge, breaking down every pause, every hesitation, every inflection for hints on what to expect next. And at that moment, when the testimony is at its height, evidence is presented, a paper that would potentially reverse the direction of the case and reveal a secret that everyone least expected. The room falls into silence once more, every family member reflecting on what the implications mean in their own way. Kody sits back, breathing unsteadily, realizing that whatever is going to be revealed will compel him to deal not just with his own decisions, but the underlying animosity and suspicion which has been percolating between his wives for years. Robyn's expression twists with anger and anguish, tears welling up at last as she hears words that implicate her in secrets she believed were hers alone, and she falters trying to think of words to set her straight. But whenever she does manage, the courtroom appears to shut down a little further, the air heavy with expectation and judgment. Christine's face changes quickly between relief and worry, understanding that while some revelations align with her established assumptions regarding Kody, other facts indicate alliances she thought were solid may have been breached, and her mind runs computations of what to do next even as her feelings verge on overwhelming her. Janelle, frozen between fear and disbelief, finds herself doubting every past conversation, every expression of loyalty, and she feels her hold on the moment beginning to slip, the emotional toll of decades of family secrets bearing down in waves that leave her gasping. Meri, on the other hand, appears to be virtually unaffected by the turmoil, although a flash of feeling passes over her face as she absorbs the implications of the evidence, her thoughts already working out how to turn the information to her use while presenting the appearance of detached equanimity. The judge stops, allowing the tension to mount, and then orders a short recess due to the complexity and sensitivity of the evidence. And as the family exits the courtroom, the atmosphere is electric, charged with suspicion, fear, and the unspoken query of what's next. In the corridor, hushed voices burst out, accusations and counter-accusations zipping just below the threshold of propriety, and Kody attempts to uphold a semblance of control. But the nature of the circumstance is inescapable. Trust is broken and allegiances are reconfiguring by the second. Robyn approaches Christine calmly, firing sharp questions about what she has read in the letter, and Christine answers with a smug satisfaction smile and a worried look, causing Robyn to wonder whether she should be glad to see her sister back or more apprehensive. Right when they believe they have the dynamics figured out, Meri introduces something that alters the family's understanding entirely, making everyone reassess what they previously believed they knew about betrayal, loyalty, and secret agendas. The latter part of the session is more explosive testimony, this time from a close family friend who reveals intimate discussions between the wives and Kody, discussions intended to be kept secret but now laid bare under the harsh light of the court. Every disclosure is a gut punch, the emotional stakes escalating with every sentence. Janelle labors to keep her composure as her voice trembles while delivering her own testimony, tears flowing abundantly while Robyn fluctuates. Between incredulity and despair, decades of shared experience now tainted by suspicion and distrust. Christine, always keen and on the defensive, takes the chance to present her point forcefully, choosing her words with care in an attempt to persuade the judge while quietly demeaning her sisters, and each look she casts holds within it the unspoken accusation of years of hurt. Meri, reserved but perceptive, observes the dynamics, recognizing what responses are sincere and which are manipulated, measuring the underlying ways she can use this information in subsequent sessions. Kody, on the other hand, remains immobilized at times, unable to cope with the deluge of information and feeling washing over him, his usual sureness replaced by a naked vulnerability that none of his family has witnessed in years. The judge interjects a number of times to keep the court in order, referencing the seriousness of the charges and the need for truth, and with every strike of the gavel, the tension in the room heightens, causing shivers throughout the room. And as the day wears on, one last witness brings some remaining testimony that bombs in an explosive way, potentially tearing the family apart from root to branch, causing everyone to wonder how well they actually know each other, and if some relationships can withstand the light of the courtroom. The session concludes with another abrupt break, and the family departs, strolling out under the declining sunlight into the parking lot, each one engulfed in their own whirlwind of thought, anger, and fear. Robyn rests against Kody, asking questions in whispers he can hardly respond to. Christine grumbles nasty, biting comments under her breath, half spoken to herself, half at the unseen foe she senses everywhere. Janelle wipes her tears quietly, making an effort to calm herself for what is to follow, and Meri, always so controlled, smiles only faintly, always so controlled, smiles only faintly, hardly perceptibly, as if aware of something the rest do not know. A truth Betrayals do not know. A truth. As they head home, the vehicle is loaded with quiet that screams with unspoken tension, every mind replaying the day's discoveries, wondering what else will come out, and aware that the following session will not only bring out more secrets but test them all to their emotional limits.
And deep down, they realize the game has only just begun, and no one will leave the next session the same person they were when they entered the courthouse.
The second day in court begins with an almost tangible tension, the kind that presses down on your chest and makes every sound echo like thunder as Kody, Robyn, Christine, Janelle, and Meri enter the room, their faces masks of composure while inside, fear and anticipation churn like a storm. Cody's hands shake as he shuffles papers, knowing that the events of the day could expose cracks in relationships that have remained hidden for years. 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 As Cody's cracks in relationships that have remained hidden for years. As reflections of his own dread mirrored in their eyes, Robyn, pale and tense, biting her lip as though holding back words she can't yet speak. Christine, jaw tight and arms crossed, calculating how every revelation could shift the balance of power. Janelle, fidgeting and whispering reassurances to herself, struggling to maintain control over emotions that threatened to spill, and Meri, perfectly still, her gaze sharp and knowing as though she's anticipatal, and knowing as though she's anticipatal, her gaze she's anticipatal, overtly still, her gaze she's anticipating, knowing as though she's anticipating, knowing as though she's anticipating. Arrives. The judge enters, bringing with them a weighty presence that instantly silences murmurs and sets the tone for the morning, and the session kicks off with the reading of a shocking witness statement from a former family confidant who claims intimate knowledge of long-hidden disputes, financial disagreements, and personal betrayals. And as each detail unfolds, the family members exchange subtle glances, some of defiance, some of disbelief, some of disbelief, some of disbelief, some of defiance, some of disbelief, some of disbelief. What is being said with the memories and realities they've held onto for decades? Kody is first to react vocally, stumbling over his words as he attempts to defend choices that suddenly feel indefensible under the scrutiny of the courtroom, and Robyn's voice cracks when she responds, her careful composure threatened by the gravity of the accusations, while Christine leans forward, her sharp eyes glinting with a mix of vindication and suspicion, eyes glinting with a mix of vindication and suspicion, eyes glinting with a mix of vindication and suspicion that might betray her own anxieties. Janelle's hands clutch the edge of the table as tears begin to form, and Meri quietly makes notes, her mind racing with strategy as she gauges the reactions of everyone around her. The testimony escalates as another witness is called, one who claims to have been present during private discussions where Kody allegedly manipulated decisions to favor certain wives, and the courtroom reacts instantly. 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 Incredulous whispers while the judge repeatedly bangs the gavel to maintain order and ensure the facts are heard, and with each revelation, the tension mounts, building like an unrelenting crescendo, and just as the family thinks they've seen the worst, a shocking revelation emerges that sends a collective gasp through the room, forcing them all to reassess what they know about loyalty, truth, and trust within their own household. A single line from a witness in a witness vault, a single line from a witnessman from a witnessman from a witnessing assault, a single line from a witness in a line from a witnessing vault, and just a list within the line from a witnessing crescendo, and just was the family from a witnessing smoothful line from a witness from a witnessing from a line from a witness. Security and planting the seeds of suspicion in even the most steadfast hearts. Kody struggles to maintain composure as he hears details about financial mismanagement and emotional manipulation that he had either forgotten or believed were insignificant, and Robyn's eyes fill with tears as the accusation touches on a private moment she had considered resolved. Christine leans back slightly, a small, almost imperceptible smirk playing at had-have-haftable smirk playing at had-had-haftable smirk playing at had-had-had. Long-held suspicions, Janelle quietly wipes her eyes and fights to breathe through the weight of betrayal, and Meri, outwardly serene, allows just a flicker of her expression to reveal her internal calculation, measuring how the unfolding drama could be used to her advantage. The session takes a turn when a confidential letter, previously undisclosed, is submitted into evidence, one that implicates the family in a series of events that could family in a series of events that could family in a series of events that could touch divisions, and the room collectively holds its breath as the judge reads aloud passages detailing private conversations, financial dealings, and interpersonal conflicts that were never intended for public view. And at this moment, the viewers, like the courtroom audience, are left teetering on the edge of revelation, because one paragraph in that letter threatens to completely upend the family dynamic, igniting tension that has been simmering and it has been simmering and it has simmering and it has been simmering and it has simmering an engine that has been simmering and financial dealing and engines allegedly and upper Blake, and at this been simmering and actual dealings, like courtroom audience that has been simmering and audience dealings, Blake and inflated and has been simmering and that letter threatens to completely a pension that has been simmering and out of the view, clutches the edge of the table, his mind spinning with questions of how to protect both the family and his reputation. Robyn's voice wavers as she attempts to clarify her own position, the emotional weight of the testimony pressing down on her chest. Christine's words are precise, cutting through the uncertainty with a mixture of fact and subtle accusation. Janelle struggles with her instinct to retreat emotionally while still participating in the her face calm but her mind a whirlwind of strategic thought and silent calculation. The mid-session recess offers little relief as the family gathers in the hallway, exchanging terse words and stolen glances. The silence between sentences loaded with unspoken fears, past grudges, and anticipatory anxiety, and each step taken back into the courtroom promises further confrontation and revelation. When the session resumes, tensions escalate and revelation. When the session resumes, tensions escalate, tensions escalate, confrontation and revelation. When the session resumes, tensions escalate, tensions escalate, tensions highlighting inconsistencies and attempting to dismantle the credibility of key witnesses, and each rebuttal only seems to provoke further emotional reactions, with Robyn sometimes flinching at pointed remarks, Christine's eyes narrowing in suspicion and determination, Janelle's hands trembling as she fights to retain composure, and Meri's quiet but sharp observations noting the psychological impact of each argument. The pace quickens as witnesses impact of each argument. The pace quickens as witnesses and witnesses and witnesses and it quickens as witnesses and it quickens as witnesses and quickens as complexity upon complexity, weaving a narrative of conflicting motives, past betrayals, and hidden alliances, and the family struggles to maintain unity as long-held secrets are exposed and previously invisible rifts begin to widen. All while the judge maintains strict control, reminding each participant of the gravity of their words and the consequences of dishonesty. And with every passing moment, the tension ratchets higher, the tension ratchets higher, coarts maintain unity, and with every passing moment, the tension ratchets higher, begin to wire, tossing moment, the tension ratchets higher, momentary lapse or a subtle lie could alter the course of the case and the family's future. Kody begins to feel the crushing weight of scrutiny as he listens to the details. Some he recognizes, some he cannot recall, but all threatening to paint a picture of manipulation and favoritism that he cannot easily counter, while Robyn wrestles with conflicting feelings of loyalty, anger, and heartbreak, her emotional turmoil spilling into audible personal some he recognizable simmling Prussian spilling into audible simmonym, some he recognizable simmonym like opportunity to assert her perspective, often challenging both the witnesses and the court with sharp, calculated interjections. Janelle's composure slips intermittently, her quiet presence punctuated by moments of raw, heartfelt expression, and Meri continues to chart the subtle psychological battles, noting which remarks elicit the strongest reactions and predicting how the narrative might shift in the next phase. The session builds torch 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 and interpers battles. The session builds torch and then settles. Who has remained anonymous until this moment, their testimony revealing a deeply personal family secret, one that has the power to either reconcile or permanently fracture relationships. And as their words hang in the air, each family member is forced to confront truths they had long avoided, the emotional intensity nearly unbearable. And just when the audience believes the drama cannot escalate further, an unexpected alliance forms between sides, one that has of alliance forms between family forms between Steve a way that no one could have anticipated, leaving viewers questioning what will happen next and who can truly be trusted. The final hour is a whirlwind of conflicting testimonies, emotional breakdowns, and strategic legal maneuvers as Kody's normally composed demeanor falters. Robyn's suppressed anger and sorrow surface in tears and pointed remarks. Christine's sharp intelligence and emotional edge dominate exchanges. Janelle vacillates, be-changes. 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 Janelle vacillates, be-demeanor falters. Janelle vacillates, be-changes. Janelle vacillates, be-changes. Determination and Meri's subtle but strategic moves influence how the courtroom perceives each revelation. As the judge calls the session to an end, the family files out with heavy steps, each immersed in private thoughts, replaying each moment, each word, each expression, all while knowing that the next session promises even deeper confrontation and potential heartbreak. In the parking lot, Robyn clings briefly to Kody, whispering questions and fears 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 ahead of the parking lot. Robyn clings briefly to Kody, whispering questions and fears and parking lot. Robyn clings briefly, cutting comments under her breath. Janelle wipes tears and steels herself, and Meri allows the faintest, almost imperceptible smile, signaling that she has gained information others have not yet grasped. And with the echo of the gavel still lingering in their minds, they realize that the storm is far from over, that each session will bring revelations that could change everything, and that no one will emerge from the next round unscathed. Making the next round unscathed. Making the next round unscathed. Making the no one will emerge from the next round unscathed, making the steals herself, and wicking they realize that could change everything, and that no one will emerge from the next round unscathed, making the length making everything. What comes next? Session 3 begins with the family returning to the courtroom, and the tension is nearly unbearable, like the air itself is charged with electricity. Kody walks in first, shoulders stiff, jaw tight, each step echoing on the polished floor as he mentally braces for what is sure to be the most revealing session yet, while Robyn follows closely behind, her face pale, eyes darting nervously at the gallery of onlookers, and Christine enters last, simmering fury, giving a subtle nod to Meri, whose calm, unreadable demeanor conceals the storm of strategy brewing behind her eyes, and Janelle trails a few steps behind, clutching a folder of notes she hopes will serve as some shield against the emotional barrage she anticipates. The judge takes their seat with a solemn gaze that immediately silences the murmurs in the room, and the session begins with the reading of testimony from a series of with the reading of testimony from a series of with the reading of testimony from a series of with the reading of testimony from a series of with the reading of testimony from a series of with the steps behind from a series of within's calm and the series of with the solemn gaze of with the solemn private conversations and moments of tension within the family, each word landing like a hammer blow against the delicate facades the family members have maintained for years, and Kody's hands shake as he struggles to respond coherently. His normally confident demeanor replaced by a raw vulnerability that is almost palpable, while Robyn's composure falters as accusations strike at her deepest fears, tears threatening to spill but held predatory gleam in her eyes, ready to pounce on any misstep that could validate her suspicions. And just when it seems the tension cannot rise any higher, a bombshell piece of evidence is revealed. A series of text messages and emails that expose hidden alliances, long-held grudges, and manipulations that leave the courtroom stunned, forcing everyone to question what is real and who can be trusted. Janelle, overwhelmed by the weight of the revelate 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 of the Janelle, overwhelmed by the weight of the revelate, is prevelate of the life, a series of text messaged. Janelle, overwhelmed by the weight of the revelate of the revelate. Janelle, overwhelmed by the weight of the revelate, spinning with memories that now take on a new, darker meaning, and Meri, still calm, allows just the faintest tightening around her lips as she absorbs every detail, already formulating how to use this knowledge in her favor while maintaining the appearance of serenity. The first witness takes the stand, recounting intimate moments where favoritism, secret agreements, and unspoken tensions influence decisions within the household, and as each within the household, and as each within the household, and as each or meaning and as each or intentions influence decisions within the household, and unspoken tensions influence decisions within the household. Glances, some defensive, some calculating, and some quietly fearful, while Kody shifts uncomfortably in his seat, aware that every word adds to a narrative that could unravel everything he has tried to build, and Robyn stifles a sob, her chest tight with a mix of betrayal and disbelief. Christine smirks subtly, pleased by the confirmation of her suspicions. Janelle struggles to remain composed, and Meri scribbles notes. Her eyes 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 scribbles struggles, and Meri scribbles notes. Precision of a hawk. As the testimony escalates, new allegations emerge that threaten to destabilize the already fragile relationships within the family, accusations of manipulation, and even intentional emotional harm surface, and with every claim, the emotional temperature in the courtroom rises, leaving the air thick with tension, unspoken resentment, and the suffocating weight of past grievances. And at the peak of the past grievances, and at the peak of the past grievances, and at the peak of the past grievances, and at the peak of the weight of past grievances, and at the peak of the sense, and at the peak of the aesthetics, and at the peak of the aveniovathets, and at the peak of the past grievances. Financial mismanagement and secret dealings is disclosed, leaving the entire family reeling, questioning not only each other but the foundation of trust that has held them together for so long. Kody stumbles as he attempts to respond, his words faltering under the relentless scrutiny. Robyn fights to remain steady, clutching her notes so tightly her knuckles whiten. Christine's eyes narrow as she considers the implications of the evidence. Christine's eyes narrow as she considers the implications of the evidence. Her mind racing through every interaction she has had with Kody and the other wives, trying to reconcile memories with the emerging reality, and Meri's calm exterior hides a calculating mind, noting each response, predicting the fallout, and mentally preparing for the next maneuver. The judge calls for a short recess, citing the complexity and sensitivity of the material, and the family exits into the hallway, where whispers and rapid exits into the hallway, where whispers and rapid exit hallway, where whispers and rapid hallway, where whispers and rapid calculating mind, where whispers and rapid calculating mind, projector whispers and rapid Kody real, where whispers and rapid Kodys, to process the storm of revelations, questioning motives, loyalty, and who might have played a role in exposing these secrets, and Kody mutters under his breath, voice tight, I never imagined it would come to this. While Robyn's whisper to him carries equal parts fear and desperation, Christine mutters sharp remarks about deceit and hidden agendas. Janelle wipes a tear from her cheek and takes a deep, shuddering breath, and Meri allows a slight, 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 of the slight, a slight, a slight, of the slight, and Meri allows a slight, a slight, a slight, a strolos. Meri allows a slight, as Meri allows a slight, awareness of information the others have yet to fully grasp. The session resumes, and the testimony becomes increasingly personal and emotionally charged, with witnesses recounting private arguments, emotional breakdowns, and confrontations that previously occurred behind closed doors, each word landing like a punch and eliciting visible reactions from the wives, and Kody struggles to respond with clarity, often hesitating as the weight of dality, often hesitating as the weight of dality, often hesitating as the weight of dalid, oft hesitating as the weight of dalidating, as the weight of dalig of daliging, often hesitating as the weight of dalidarting, of punch and late ravis, as a rate of dalis, Ray struggles to respond with clarity. Robyn's face contorts with grief and anger, Christine leans in, voice sharp and deliberate, strategically highlighting details that serve her point. Janelle alternates between quiet reflection and emotional outbursts, and Meri continues her measured observation, noting psychological shifts, alliances forming and fracturing, and the subtle ways individuals react under pressure. And then an anonymous recording is submitted as evidence. Capturing is submitted as evidence. Capture recording is submitted as evidence. Capturing is submitted as evidence. Capturing is cleaning. An anonymous recording is submitted as evidence. Capture oppressor. And then an anonymous recording is supporting. An anonymous recording is subsurf recording. Surface, revealing truths that shake the very core of the family dynamic, leaving viewers and participants alike on edge, wondering who will emerge unscathed and who will be irrevocably changed. The tension builds further as Kody faces pointed questions from the attorney, each designed to corner him, unravel his defense, and expose inconsistencies in his past statements, his voice occasionally trembling despite attempts to remain composed, while 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 inconsistencies in his past statements, his voice occasionally trembling despite attempts to remain composed, while informs emotions raw, ready to respond, counter, or defend themselves as needed, and Meri's eyes dart between each speaker, analyzing tone, body language, and intent, mentally cataloging details to use in the next confrontation. As the session progresses, confrontations between the wives themselves emerge, fueled by jealousy, resentment, and the long-simmering tension that has existed beneath the surface for years, and these emotional classions, moments of suspense and unpredictability as alliances shift, words are weaponized, and every subtle gesture is scrutinized for hidden meaning. And just when it seems the drama cannot escalate further, a revelation about a previously undisclosed personal matter surfaces, forcing each family member to confront not only the reality of the situation, but also their own fears, regrets, and vulnerabilities, creating an emotional crescendo, creating an emotional crescendo. Their seats, Kody struggles to maintain authority. Robyn's tears spill freely as she recounts her perspective. Christine seizes every opportunity to assert her point with razor-sharp precision. Janelle vacillates between anger and sorrow, and Meri's composed demeanor masks an internal calculation, knowing the unfolding chaos offers her leverage in ways the others cannot yet see. The remainder of the session is a whirlwind of testimony. Cross is a whirlwind of testimony. Cross if is a whirlwind of testimony. Cross if testimony. Cross if see. The remainder of the session is a whirlwind of testimony. Cross if the is. Cross if whirlwind of testimony. Cross if the main of see. The remainder of the session is a whirlwind of testimony. Cross if re. Layering more tension, as witness after witness presents new evidence, conflicts arise, and the wives' emotional responses fluctuate between fury, despair, and strategic composure, all while Kody's attempts to mediate often falter under the relentless pressure of scrutiny. And in the final moments, the judge introduces a confidential document that could completely reshape custody arrangements and financial decisions, leaving every factual decisions, leaving every factual decisions, leaving every factual decisions, leaving every factual decisions, leaving every financial decisions, leaving every financial decisions, leaving every financial decisions. Intake of breath, and the audience hanging on the edge of anticipation for the fallout that will inevitably follow. As the gavel strikes to end the session, the family files out, their expressions a complex mixture of fear, contemplation, and determination, each lost in private thoughts about the revelations, their own roles, and how to navigate the next round of courtroom warfare. And in the hallway, whispers fly, glances are exchanged, and sut exchanged, and sut exchanged, and sut exchanged, and sut howlay, whispers fly, glances are exchanged, and sut and in the hallway, whispers fly, glances are exchanged, and sut how exchanged, and sut how gland the thoughts glot, promising even more explosive confrontations and sessions to come, while viewers are left desperate to know what happens next, completely immersed in the emotional roller coaster of betrayal, revelation, and family drama that has only just begun. Session 4 starts with the family back in court, the air heavy with tension so thick it's almost tangible as Kody enters first, shoulders back but face pale, each step weighted with the realization that this session might be the one that irretrievably shatters bonds, with Robyn behind him, eyes wide, jaw clenched, attempting to suppress the fear that swirls in her belly, Christine striding in with fierce, measured calm, her eyes keen and calculating and calculating and calculating and calculating and calculating. Outward calm conceals a mind racing with strategy and expectation, and Janelle brings up the rear, clutching a folder of papers, hands shaking slightly as she steals herself for the emotional battering that awaits. The judge takes the bench, their presence immediately stopping mutterings and demanding attention, and the session gets underway with a recap of the fresh evidence filed late the night before. A batch of messages, emails, and personal missives that lay bare long-seated resentments, unvoiced conflicts, and allegiances that changed over years, each morsel like a hammer blow, forcing the family members to 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 members to famer blow. Forcinal missives that family members to family members, nensbinged wyant likesonal missives, morsel like a hammer blow. Forcinal missives that family members, and Kody feels the walls closing in as he struggles to articulate responses, his words stumbling under the weight of revelation, while Robyn's hands clutch the edge of the table so tightly her knuckles whiten, and tears threaten to spill as she processes accusations that cut to the heart of her trust and loyalty. Christine leans in, a faint, almost imperceptible smirk crossing her face, a mix of vindication and strategy, as she observes and as she observes and spills strong loyalty, as she observes and a faint, almost sterbly observes and Strebdal smirk processes accusation and strategy. Eyes, her chest tight with grief and fear, and Meri, ever composed, allows only the slightest tightening around her eyes, absorbing every detail, every nuance, and mentally preparing for the next move in this high-stakes emotional chess game. The first witness called is a close family associate, one who claims to have observed private disputes and decisions regarding finances, household responsibilities, and interpersonal conflicts, and their technical 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 conflicts game, their personal conflicts, and their technical conflicts, and their ripples of disbelief, tension, and fear as every family member realizes the depth to which private matters are now exposed, and Kody's voice falters as he attempts to clarify misunderstandings. Robyn's quiet sobs escape despite her effort to maintain composure. Christine's precise, pointed questions highlight inconsistencies and push the narrative toward validation of her suspicions. Janelle's normally gentle demeanor cracks under the pressure, under the pressure, under the pressure, usher, 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 under the pressure, usher, under the pressure, under the pressure, Armalfer, under the pressure. Arnell's normally gentle demeanor cracks under the pressure, pressure. Observe, calculating, measuring the reactions of everyone, noting the cracks and potential leverage points. Influence the case moving forward. The judge pauses, allowing the gravity of the revelation to sink in, while murmurs ripple through the gallery, each family member grappling with their own emotions, and the testimony continues, building on the momentum, revealing how past decisions, hidden alliances, and emotional manipulation have a feeling, how the fissions, and emotional manipulation have a affiliation, have a decisions, have a finculation, have a fast decisions, and emotional manipulation have a femstimo manipulation, have a femstimo manipulation, have a feeling fantlings, have a calculation, have a fans pastimo emotions, personal trust that binds the family, and Kody finds himself increasingly cornered, struggling to defend past actions while facing mounting emotional pressure from the wives and the court. Robyn's face is pale, eyes brimming with tears, as the testimony touches on moments she thought were private. Christine leans forward, sharp and unyielding, delivering questions with the precision of a surgeon, dissecting words and intentions. Janelle alternate intentions, Janelle alternate and intentions, Janelle alternate unintentions, Janelle alternate words and intentions, Janelle alternate touches, Janelle alternate question, Janelle alternate touches Ben Gerd Dan's Bane's words the test, Janelle alternate touches, Janelle alternate touch. Her perspective and Meri remains outwardly serene, but her mind races, analyzing every tone, expression, and gesture to identify weaknesses, strengths, and opportunities. The session intensifies further as a new witness is called, one who claims to have intimate knowledge of conversations between Kody and the wives that suggest favoritism, manipulation, and intentional emotional harm, and as the testimony unfolds, each word land folds, each word land folds, each word land folds, each word land testimony unfolds, each word land testimony unfolds, each word land testimony of graces, each word land intentional harm, and as the testimony unfolds, each word land intentional harm, and as the courtroom becomes a tense battlefield of emotion, strategy, and revelation, forcing everyone to confront uncomfortable truths, question motives, and consider alliances and betrayals that were previously hidden. Kody's usually composed demeanor falters, his hands trembling as he attempts to respond. Robyn's quiet sobs turn louder, her face contorted in grief and anger. Christine leans forward, eyes narrowed, using the moments forward, eyes narrowed, using the moment forward, eyes narrowed, using the moments forward, eyes narrowed, using the moment and leans forward, eyes narrowed, using the moments forward, eyes narrowed. Christine leans forward, eyes narrowed, using leans forward. Composure wavers, her mind racing through decades of shared experiences now cast in a new, painful light, and Meri, calm and calculating, notes every reaction, every hesitation, and every subtle shift in the room, recognizing the opportunity to influence perception and strategy. As the session progresses, the tension continues to mount, with confrontations erupting not only between Kody and the wives, but also between the wives themselves, between the wives themselves, between the wives themselves, between the wives themselves, but also between the wives themselves. Shift in the realm, recognized in the wives, between the wives themselves, life. Resentments that surface under the pressure of court scrutiny, creating moments of raw, unpredictable emotional intensity, with words and gestures carrying heavy weight, and viewers remain on edge, emotionally invested in the unfolding drama. Kody struggles to maintain control, his voice occasionally cracking under the relentless pressure. Robyn fights to articulate her position through tears and emotion. Christine leverages the situation to tears and emotion. Christine leverages the situation to tears and emotion. Christine leverages the situation to tears. Christine leverages the situation to repression. Christine leverages the situation to tears, cares of the situation to tears and emotion. Discourse. Janelle's internal struggle is visible in every gesture and expression, and Meri continues her strategic observation, her calm exterior masking a mind rapidly calculating how to turn revelations into leverage. The final hours of the session are a whirlwind of cross-examination, testimony, and emotional confrontation as witnesses reveal new evidence, old secrets resurface, and the wives' reactions fluctuate between 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 the final fluctuate between resurface. Relentless scrutiny and the unraveling of long-held family dynamics, and the judge maintains strict control, reminding all participants of the gravity of the proceedings and the importance of honesty, yet allowing the emotional intensity to remain palpable. The next day, a letter shows up in the court to the judge, vowing to reveal everything they think they know about this family. Its contents have the potential to alter everything. Session 5 opens with the family returning to the courtroom, the air electric with anticipation as Kody steps forward first, shoulders tense, jaw tight, his normally confident demeanor replaced by a careful calculation of every possible move, while Robyn follows, her eyes wide, hands trembling slightly as she braces herself for another wave of emotional onslaught. Christine enters with a steely, predatory focus, her eyes scanning the Tory 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 focus, her eyes scanning the possible move, eyes scanning the Tory focus, her eyes scanning the Tierlingsstraße. Her walks in with calm precision, mask of serenity firmly in place as her mind races to anticipate and leverage every emerging detail, and Janelle follows last, clutching a small notebook, lips pressed tightly together, bracing herself for the psychological and emotional pressure she knows will intensify as the session begins. The judge takes the bench, their presence commanding immediate silence, and the session begins with the introduction of a new section of a new set to silence, and the session begins with the introduction of a new set to syncopate interactions, decisions, and communications that challenges the family's recollection of events, exposing contradictions, hidden motives, and secrets long buried, each item landing like a weight upon the family's conscience, and Kody finds himself stumbling over explanations, voice strained, as he attempts to defend choices and clarify intent. While Robyn's tears threaten to spill as accusations brush against the deepest corners of her Robyn's tears of her low corners of her low, measuring voice precise, every question designed to undermine and reveal the truth. Janelle fights to maintain composure, occasionally shuddering under the emotional impact, and Meri observes silently, noting every facial expression, gesture, and tone, calculating the subtle power shifts with surgical precision. The first witness of the day recounts private conversations between Kody and each of the wives, conversations that suggest manipulative and each of the wives, conversations that suggest manipulative and each of the wives, conversations that suggest manipulative each of the wives, conversations that suggest manipulative conversations that surgical precision. Under questions, the first Courtroom responds with audible gasps, murmurs, and tension so thick it feels almost suffocating. Kody flinches at certain details. Robyn closes her eyes briefly, swallowing hard to hold back tears. Christine leans forward, a faint smile on her lips as she anticipates the fallout. Janelle's hands clench involuntarily, and Meri's eyes narrow, absorbing the impact and silently plotting next moves. The judge calls for clarification of search calls for clarification of search calls for clarification of certification of search calls for clarification of search calls for clarification of certain details. The suspense as lawyers probe inconsistencies, challenge recollections, and push the family members to confront the reality of their choices. Kody's responses falter under scrutiny. Robyn's composure wavers. Christine's sharp intellect dominates portions of the discussion. Janelle vacillates between anger and sorrow, and Meri's calm exterior belies the intricate mental game she is playing, tracking the subtle shifts in trust, perception, tracking the subtle shifts in trust, perception, who has remained anonymous until this moment, and their testimony delivers shocking details of conversations and events previously unknown, directly challenging Kody's statements and revealing layers of conflict among the wives, each revelation landing with a psychological weight that causes subtle tremors in demeanor, breathing, and eye contact, forcing each family member to process quickly, respond carefully, while navigate the court scrutiny navigate the court scrutiny test scrutiny while scrutiny while quickly while conscious scrutiny while fort scrutiny while contact fort scrutiny while less quickly fort spim heartbreak and disbelief. Session accelerates as documents, messages, and testimonies are revealed in rapid succession, each unveiling new conflicts, discrepancies, and emotional triggers, creating a pressure cooker environment where every word matters, every glance carries weight, and every reaction could determine influence and perception in court. Kody increasingly falters under the relentless barrage. Robyn's tears flow more freely. Increasingly falters under the relentless barrage. Robyn's tears flow more freely. Increasingly falters flow more freely. Increasingly flow more freely. Increasingly crushers flow more freely. Increasingly flow more freely. Increasingly crusher flow more freely. Criction could crickers crooked cooker. Silence. Janelle alternates between fragile and defiant, and Meri notes each subtle sign of weakness or distraction for future advantage. Kody's usually composed stance falters, sweat forming on his brow as he tries to provide context. Robyn's trembling hands clutch the edge of the table as her mind races to reconcile truth with loyalty. Christine's eyes sparkle with a mix of triumph and curiosity. Janelle's voice wavers as she Janelle's voice wavers as she curiosity. Janelle's voice wavers as she curiosity. Janelle's voice wavers as she curiosity. Janelle's voice wavers as she curiosity recontext.
Continues her silent assessment.
Calculating the strategic advantage each reaction provides and anticipating the next move in the unfolding drama. The middle of the session brings further emotional escalation as witnesses reveal private arguments, personal confessions, and emotionally loaded disputes that paint a raw, unfiltered picture of the family's internal conflicts, each revelation a spark igniting volatile emotions, forcing Kody, Robyn, Christine, Janelle, decisions, regrets, and vulnerabilities, creating an emotional intensity that leaves the courtroom electric and viewers riveted. As the session nears its conclusion, confrontation among the wives intensifies. Words are exchanged with sharp precision and emotional force. Kody attempts to mediate but is repeatedly undermined by conflicting testimonies and rising emotional stakes. Robyn oscillates between despair and determination to between despair and determination to determination to determination to determination to determination to determination. Robyn oscillates between despair and determination to stakes. Robyn oscillates between despair and determination to determination to determination to determination to position. Janelle struggles to maintain clarity amidst emotional chaos, and Meri observes, calculates, and subtly influences perceptions without revealing her own agenda, setting up the stage for even more explosive moments. The final minutes are a blur of testimony, emotional revelation, and strategic maneuvering as each family member faces the consequences of years of secrecy, miscommunication, and unspoken grievances. Precision, leaving the courtroom tense with anticipation. Session 6 opens with the family returning to the courtroom, and the atmosphere is thick with tension that seems almost suffocating as Kody steps in first, jaw tight, shoulders stiff, every step deliberate as he braces for what could be the most critical session yet, while Robyn follows, hands clasped so tightly her knuckles are white, eyes darting nervously at the gallery and the judge, or Robyn Follery and the judge, or Romosly at the gallery and the judge, or Beloils. Revelations, Christine enters with her usual sharp composure, her gaze scanning the room with a calculated intensity, silently assessing each reaction and preparing to leverage any advantage. Meri follows with her signature calm and unreadable expression, her mind calculating every detail, every movement, every reaction of the others, while Janelle lingers slightly behind, clutching her notes, taking deep breaths to steady herself. While Janelle lingers slightly behind, clutching her notes, taking deep breaths to steady herself. And while K.S. has only just begun to recognize. The judge takes the bench with a commanding presence, immediately silencing the murmurs of the gallery, and the session begins with the introduction of new evidence, a combination of personal correspondence, financial documents, and private recordings that has the potential to completely shift the perception of loyalty, manipulation, and trust within the family. And as each piece of evidence is revealed, piece of evidence is reveals, piece of evidence is reveals, personal correspondence is reveals, piece of evidence is reveals perception of loyalty, manipulation, and as the potential to family, and as the potential fidelity, and is visibly struggling to maintain composure. Robyn's chest tight with anxiety and anticipation, Christine leaning forward with sharp, calculating intensity, Janelle trying to maintain a fragile calm while internal panic simmers, and Meri watching, calm yet analytical, noting every nuance, every subtle expression, every micro-reaction to prepare for the strategic use of this information. Kody attempts to respond, stumbling over his word, stumbling over his word, stumbling over his word, his word, his word, his word, his word. Perception of past events, while Robyn's hands tremble as she clutches the edge of the table, tears threatening to spill, Christine's expression tightens, lips pressed into a thin line as she calculates how this revelation affects her position. Janelle's eyes widen with disbelief, her breathing shallow, and Meri's calm face reveals almost nothing, though the faint flicker of her eyes betrays a mind already plotting her next strategic move. The first with move. The first with, the first with, the first with move. The first with move. The first with Bravenwall. Interactions that suggest favoritism, emotional manipulation, and deliberate exclusion of certain family members from key decisions. And as each detail is disclosed, tension in the room escalates, creating a pressure cooker environment where every glance, every word, and every gesture is scrutinized, forcing the family to navigate the storm of revelations while simultaneously defending their reputations, maintaining composure, and obtaining composure, and reputations, maintaining composure, and reputations, maintaining composure, and every gestations, maintaining composure, and reputations, maintaining composure, and maintaining composure, and reputations, he attempts to provide context and justification. Robyn's eyes fill with tears she struggles to hold back. Christine leans forward, a faint but unmistakable smirk crossing her face as she capitalizes on every perceived weakness. Janelle struggles to steady herself, her voice quivering at moments, and Meri remains outwardly serene, observing every detail, silently cataloging reactions and calculating how to use this information to faint and calculating how to use this information to heals and to rain, to heal actions and calculating how to use this information to bring. Witness is called someone with intimate knowledge of private conversations and moments of emotional conflict, and their testimony delivers revelations so explosive they shake the courtroom, with allegations of betrayal, favoritism, and manipulation thrown like sparks into a tinderbox of existing tension. Kody flinching at certain accusations, Robyn struggling to maintain composure as old wounds are reopened, Christine seizing every opposite old wounds are reopened, Christine seizing every opposite seizing every opposite of exhalations, every oppositions, every opposite of existing, every opposite conversations, with allegations prevail as old wounds are reopened. Christine seizing every opposite way to seizing every opposite private. Christine seeing torn between disbelief and desperate attempts to clarify her position, and Meri quietly evaluating how each statement shifts power dynamics and psychological influence. The middle portion of the session unfolds in a blur of testimonies, cross-examinations, and emotional confrontations, each revelation layering more complexity, forcing the family members to confront their own choices, past mistakes, and the ramifications of their mistakes, and the ramifications of their mistakes, and the ramifications of their decisions, and the ramifications of their mistakes, and the ramifications of their decisions, and ramifications of their decisions, Anthony evolved in and the ramifications of their distance and ramifications between sorrow and anger. Christine's sharp intellect dominating portions of the proceedings, Janelle vacillating between fear and defiance, and Meri maintaining her composed exterior while internally strategizing the next move in the emotionally charged game. The pace quickens as further evidence of private disputes, financial disagreements, and hidden alliances is presented, and each new revelation intensifies the strain on the family, with sussifies the strain on the family, with sus-strain 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 on the family, with other evidence of private stance of strain on the family, with sus the strain on the family. Reactions scrutinized by all, forcing an intricate dance of truth, defense, and manipulation. Kody's confidence wavering under scrutiny, Robyn's tears flowing more freely, Christine leveraging every detail to assert control, Janelle struggling to maintain clarity, and Meri silently gaining insight and influence from the chaos. I'll unfold. The final hour of the session is a whirlwind of emotional confrontation, testimony and strategian, 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 and strategian, and strategian, testimony and strategian, testimony, and tested, Kody attempting to mediate while navigating accusations, Robyn confronting both grief and betrayal, Christine asserting dominance with precision and timing, Janelle balancing emotional honesty with strategic defense, and Meri quietly observing, calculating, and preparing for future opportunities to influence outcomes. And as the gavel strikes to end session 6, the family files out, their faces etched with exhaustion, fear, about the revelations, their roles, and the next steps, leaving viewers captivated, fully invested and desperate for the continuational and psychological roller coaster that promises even greater upheaval in the sessions ahead. Session 7 begins with the family entering the courtroom under a heavy, almost suffocating tension, each step echoing with the weight of anticipation and dread. Kody walks in first, shoulders stiff, jaw tight, every muscle taut with the knowledge that this session may irrevocably alter relationships and reveal truths long buried, while Robyn follows, hands clasped tightly, eyes darting nervously around the room, aware that each revelation could push her in the room, aware that each revelation could push her and push her and push her and push her and push her in the room, aware that each revelation could push her in buried, aware that each revelation could push her and revelation could push her and buried, aware that each revelation could push her and buried, aware that Christine strides in next, composed but sharp, eyes calculating, scanning the room for weaknesses and opportunities to assert dominance. Meri enters with her trademark calm, face unreadable yet mind racing to absorb every nuance, every subtle reaction, and Janelle trails behind, notebook clutched to her chest, breathing measured but uneven, already bracing for the emotional storm she knows will hit hard. The judge takes their seat, and the sus takes their seat, and the sus takes their seat, and the judge takes their seat, and the sus takes their seat, and the sus takes their seat, and the sus takes, and the sus, and judge takes their seat, and the sus and brother. The judge takes their seat, and the sus takes their evidence, a series of intimate messages, emails, and handwritten notes that suggest long hidden alliances, betrayals, and strategic maneuvering within the family, each revelation landing like a blow and forcing the family to confront the harsh realities of their interpersonal dynamics, and Kody immediately falters. His words hesitant as he tries to provide context. His words hesitant as he tries to provide context. Christine leans it, her trust is shaken. 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 Christine leans and fam leans, but her trust is shaken. Christine leans of the mind. Christine leans as hers to try to misstep. Janelle struggles to maintain composure while internal panic rises, and Meri remains outwardly calm, silently cataloging every reaction for future strategic advantage. The first witness recounts a series of private meetings and discussions where favoritism, manipulation, and hidden agendas influenced major decisions, each revelation eliciting visible reactions. Kody flinching, Robyn swallowing hard to suppress sobs, gripping the table, and Meri noting every detail with an analytical mind. The judge interjects at times to maintain order, emphasizing the gravity of the testimony and the importance of honesty, while lawyers cross-examine witnesses, challenging inconsistencies and probing for hidden motives, intensifying the pressure on the family and driving the narrative forward. And with every question, tension ratchets higher, forcing Kody to defend actions 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 higher, forcing Adu with an effort higher, forcing Kody to defend emotion with reason, Christine to assert control, Janelle to manage fear and frustration, and Meri to silently evaluate how the revelations shift power dynamics, emotion. As the session progresses, evidence escalates with emails, texts, and personal notes revealing moments of betrayal, favoritism, and emotional manipulation, each piece dissected in front of the court, prompting the wives to confront past actions and motivations. Kody struggling to provide coherent explanations, Robyn alternately weeping and asserting herself, Christine delivering pointed commentary to highlight inconsistencies, Janelle vacillating between grief and determination, and Meri continuing her quiet observation, calculating how the emotional and psychological fallout may serve her advantage. Anger as she confronts not only Kody's choices but also her own feelings of betrayal. Christine's sharp, calculating mind seizes every detail to strengthen her narrative. Janelle struggles to reconcile her emotions with the unfolding facts, and Meri remains outwardly serene while internally strategizing the next moves in this high-stakes emotional chess game. The middle portion of the session is a whirlwind of testimony, cross-examination, 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 cross-examination. relive past conflicts, revisit old grievances, and defend against allegations that strike at the core of their relationships. Kody's confidence wavers under repeated questioning. Robyn's emotions alternate between despair and defiance. Christine asserts control with precision. Janelle navigates a delicate balance of emotional honesty and strategic defense, and Meri quietly observes, absorbing information and predicting the unfolding shin 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 and predicting the unfolding shinships. As additional evidence is introduced, including emails, recordings, and personal notes that reveal hidden agendas, secret alliances, and emotional manipulation, each piece dissected and analyzed under the scrutiny of the judge and attorneys, Kody flinching as inconsistencies are highlighted, Robyn's tears falling freely, Christine calculating the impact of every statement, Janelle attempting to maintain composure while processing shock and betray while processing shock and betrayer while processing shock and betrayer while processing shock and betrays for future advantage. The final hours of the session are a blur of emotional confrontations, intense testimony, and strategic maneuvering, with each family member pushed to the edge. Kody struggling to maintain authority and clarity under relentless scrutiny, Robyn grappling with grief and betrayal, Christine asserting dominance with precision and timing, Janelle balancing emotional honesty with strategic defense, and Meri quietly observes. While the courtroom remains tense and viewers are held captive by the drama unfolding before them. Electric, as Kody walks in first, shoulders rigid, face pale, each step weighted with the knowledge that this session could determine the ultimate outcome of trust, loyalty, and family cohesion, while Robyn follows, hands clasped tightly, eyes scanning the room nervously, every breath a conscious effort to steady herself against the emotional storm she knows is steady herself against the emotional storm she knows is steady herself against the emotional storm she knows is a soldernal storm she knows is a family storm she knows is Thames Clough, Walter's storm she knows is emotional being self-told, controlled and calculating, scanning the room for weakness, gauging reactions with the precision of a strategist. Meri steps in with her trademark calm, expression unreadable, yet her mind a whirlwind of calculations, predictions, and strategic planning, and Janelle trails slightly behind, notebook clutched to her chest, taking deep, measured breaths, bracing herself for the inevitable confrontations, revelations, and emotionalations, 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 bracenalations, revelations, and emotionalations, and emotionalations. Bench, their presence commanding silence, and the session opens with the presentation of final evidence. A meticulously compiled dossier of text messages, emails, recordings, financial records, and personal notes that collectively expose years of hidden grievances, unspoken alliances, manipulations, and decisions that have shaped the family dynamic, each piece landing like a hammer blow, forcing Kody, Robyn, Christine, Janelle, Abin, 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 Christine, Janelle, Christine Kite. Betrayals that have been building over decades, and Kody immediately falters under the weight of scrutiny. His voice tight as he attempts to clarify choices, defend intentions, and reconcile accusations with reality, while Robyn's hands tremble as she clutches the table, her eyes brimming with tears and a mix of grief and anger. Christine leans forward with a calculating glint in her eyes, prepared to seize every advantage. Janelle's lips prepared to seize every advantage. Janelle's lips to seize every advantage. Janelle's lips seize every advantage. Janelle's lips Christine leans forwards. The she solidities, Janelle's lips pupillating glint in her eyes, prepared to seize every advantage. Janelle's lips
Disbelief and determination, and Meri remains outwardly composed, quietly absorbing every detail, measuring reactions, and anticipating the shifts in strategy that will inevitably emerge. The witness recounts private interactions, moments of favoritism, and subtle acts of manipulation, each word eliciting visible reactions. Kody flinches at accusations he cannot easily refute. Robyn's eyes fill with tears as she confronts Prunt's eyes fill with tears as she confronts Prunt's of tears as she confronts with tears as she confronts Prunt's privacy easily refute. Robyn's eyes fill with tears as she confronts privacy as she confronts a private in chief as she confronts private in fears as she confronts a private easily refute. Robyn's eyes
Strategic, relishing each confirmation of suspicion, Janelle clutches her notebook, voice trembling as she interjects to defend herself, and Meri's gaze never wavers, calculating every nuance, every reaction, and every subtle shift in alliances, understanding how each revelation reshapes the balance of power. The judge interjects to ensure clarity, emphasizing the gravity of the proceedings, while attorneys cross-examine the witness, examine the witness, examine the witness, examine the witness, examine the witness, Chonkilogics, chomp examine the witness, chomps examine the witness, chompigs which is leaks the examine the gravity of the proceedings, while attorneys cross-examine the witness, heightening the pressure, forcing Kody to navigate complex questions while managing a growing emotional load. Robyn to reconcile feelings of betrayal with the need for composure, Christine to assert control with precision, Janelle to defend her position under scrutiny, and Meri to silently strategize the optimal use of the information unfolding before her. Kody's voice cracks as he attempts to defend his past actions. Robyn's tears flesh actions. Robyn's tears flesh actions. Robyn's tears flesh actions. Robyn's tears flesh stings. Robyn's tears flesh stings. Robyn's tears flesh cracks as he attempts to defend his gravity decision unfolding before. On every subtle advantage, her gaze cutting like a scalpel through uncertainty, Janelle vacillates between panic and clarity, trying to reconcile her emotional turmoil with strategic defense, and Meri quietly observes, absorbing every subtle gesture, tone, and expression, preparing to leverage the unfolding drama. The session escalates as additional evidence is presented, emails, texts, and letters that reveal hidden motives, secrets, and letters that reveal hidden motives, secreted, emails, emails, texts, and letters that reveal hidden motives, texts and letters that reveal hidden motives, forcing the family to confront not only the consequences of past actions, but also the intricate web of interpersonal relationships that have been quietly shaping every decision, and Kody falters under repeated questioning. Robyn oscillates between despair and assertion. Christine asserts her dominance through precise, pointed commentary. Janelle struggles to maintain composure while processing shock and betrayal, and Meri continues her quiet and Meri continues her quiet a shock and Meri continues her quiet as in ways. Strategic insight. Next revelation. The emotional intensity reaches its peak as confrontations between the wives ignite. Sharp words, accusations, and confessions collide. Kody attempts to mediate but is repeatedly undermined by the weight of emotional testimony. Robyn confronts grief, betrayal, and the need for self-assertion. Christine wields every detail with surgical precision. Janelle balances emotional honesty with strategical precision. Janelle balances emotional honesty with confrontal honesty with strategic grow. Janelle balances emotional honesty with strategical precision. Janelle balances emotional honesty with strategical precision. Janelle balances ultimate outcome of the chaos, noting every crack, hesitation, and opportunity. Kody struggles to articulate responses, voice wavering as he faces the full weight of scrutiny. Robyn's hands tremble and tears fall freely. Christine leans in, eyes glinting as she seizes every advantage. Janelle's voice falters as she tries to interject with defense, and Meri continues to absorb, evaluate, and strategize, knowing that the smallest reaction may let 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 the maylist reaction may the decraction maylist reaction may let come Janelle's reaction. Meri continues to absorb, evaluate, Whirlwind of final testimony, cross-examination, and emotional confrontations as each piece of evidence is dissected, challenged, and weighed, and each family member is forced to confront both their own decisions and the consequences of others' actions, creating a dramatic crescendo that tests loyalty, trust, and emotional resilience. Kody faltering under repeated scrutiny, Robyn grappling with betrayal and heartbreak, Christina Surstini, Robyn grappling with betrayal and heartbreak. Christina Surstein, a Surstein, a Surstein, a Surstein, a Surstein, a Surstein, Surstein, a Surstein, a Surstein, and the consequences attacking. Robyn grappling with betrayal and heartbreak. Christina Surstein and the Stina scrutiny. Robyn, Meri quietly plotting next moves in a psychological battle of precision. As the gavel strikes to conclude session 8, the family files out, their faces etched with exhaustion, sorrow, contemplation, and determination, each member processing revelations, evaluating strategies, and preparing for the aftermath of the climactic session, while viewers are left captivated, breathless, and compelled to reflect on the dramatic culmination of while viewers are left culmination of reflect on the dramatic culmination of plotted culmination of Mina plotted culmination of coded culmination of the rough culmination of Packlison define this extraordinary courtroom journey, knowing that the story, while legally concluded, will resonate in their hearts and minds far beyond the courtroom walls.